The following video contains spoilers for Season 2 of Telltale Games' The Walking Dead. When Telltale Games wants to, they can drain you emotionally, more than most television shows, films, or any other form of media. The penultimate episode of Season 2 of The Walking Dead is a true nail-biter from start to finish. Though I personally haven't attached myself to any of the characters this season like I did last, watching many of them meet their doom in this episode still hit me in the gut, which says more to their believability as characters, and less to do with their likability. Or perhaps I, like Clem, am coming to grips with the reality that most of the people I meet in this zombie world won't last long, and I'm coping by putting up emotional blockers. And sadly, there's no real way of talking about this episode without giving away some sort of spoilers, so apologies if you've made it this far into the video without heeding my original warning. Clem and the gang escape from their internment with Carver and his crew, and it's out of the frying pan and into the fire. Their freedom has left them without food, shelter, and protection. They are fewer in numbers, with a baby and a bitter winter on the way. With Kenny and Luke both injured and constantly bickering over leadership, Clem steps up her role this episode from shot maker to shot caller. Right from the word go, players are constantly either making tough decisions or they're in the thick of a fight. It's in this type of episode where The Walking Dead truly shines. Conversation-heavy episodes are fine if they go in interesting directions, but this episode stands head and shoulders over the rest of the entire season. But this is also where several of the game's characters' fates are entirely out of the player's hands, which may be frustrating to some gamers. However, to others, this is also a place where, knowing these characters' final destinations, players can restart this series and treat each character differently, either pitying their fate or cruelly casting them off, knowing they'll eventually be zombie chow. It's in these moments that players can push themselves emotionally, or see how Clem acts in the extremes. These relationships, like the Lee and Duck relationship in Season 1, give The Walking Dead its replayability. Because The Walking Dead isn't about winning or losing or some reward at the end. It's fully about the emotional journey of Clem's and the players, and sometimes it gets the most interesting when the two don't line up. More than the undead, mental illness is a primary evil in this episode. At the polar opposites of one spectrum are Kenny and Sarah, both affected by post-traumatic stress. With Sarah, her trauma shuts her down mentally and physically, and with Kenny, it fuels a frighteningly increasing issue with rage. On another spectrum are Luke and Jane. Jane's familial loss prevents her from creating healthy attachments with new people. Luke, on the other hand, emotionally attaches very quickly. Episode 4 leaves on a wonderful cliffhanger, full of potential, but there are still a few loose ends. The destinies of Krista and Jane are yet to be revealed, if ever, and it will be interesting to see how Telltale ties everything together in Episode 5. Without a doubt, this was my favorite episode in Season 2, and I'm ready for Clem to fully take her seat as a group leader, despite her youth. It was thrilling, it was gory, but without feeling excessive. The decisions I made were interesting, and considering the game knocked around my emotions, I can say it was a very effective form of media.